Kurt, did you see the sign that Troy left for Dan?
No. It was in the garbage.
Dan,
It was a paper towel and Sharpie. It said, waking up at 9.
waking up around 9.
Yeah.
Because
Waking around 9.
Dan went to the bathroom and Troy thought he was going to be in there for like half an hour. So he just wrote on a paper towel and Dan walked out as he was writing, I'll wake up around 9.
Yeah.
Like he was going to leave it for him so that Dan wasn't scared.
Yeah. Just so Dan would know what time to expect the podcast to start, and we hit that mark. We're right on schedule.
Almost on topic, but slightly off. Almost planned, but not enough. Almost in sequence when we all talk. Almost random conversations in tandem.
Hello and welcome to episode 26 of Almost Random, the podcast about podcasting. As always, I'm here with Troy Messamaker, the messiest podcaster in the business.
Thanks for that.
I'm Joel Campos.
Perfectly.
This is Dan, the man, Dan Maslucci, and Pockets Agner.
It's true. It's my name. Welcome. Hello.
Yeah, this week we have some topics, I guess. Some hangover topics from Troy and Dan. Who wants to go first?
Want me to go first?
I don't care. Yeah.
All right, I can
You
go
want to go
first.
first?
I got the iPad
you
here.
were being so secretive. I do want to know.
I got the iPad here for fact checking.
Yeah.
So
I hope there's a lot of facts that need to be checked.
keep it truthful.
All right, this is the truth. So I recently came to the conclusion that The Mighty Ducks is the most important comedy of our generation.
That's a bold statement.
And also the most important comedy of the 21st century. Which I know what you're thinking. Didn't it come out in the 90s? And yes, it did.
Okay.
Here's
what.
Yeah, you need to elaborate.
Yeah.
So,
It's like
brief
you're speaking
history.
in riddles.
1992, the Walt Disney Company releases The Mighty Ducks. And it was written by a guy named Stephen Brill, who you may recognize from a few Adam Sandler movies. So,
And like on credits, or like he acts in Adam Sandler movies?
acts.
Okay.
He's in like The Wedding Singer and a couple other, I think.
Okay.
But anyway, he writes The Mighty Ducks, and it becomes fairly successful, considering it was like low budget. So then in 1994, he writes D2, The Mighty Ducks,
Okay.
the superior sequel.
Hold on. Is
It is
this
good.
just about the
Sequel's
first movie
good.
being the greatest comedy, or is it about the trilogy?
You gotta get the history to understand.
Okay.
why.
All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Feed us this
So,
history.
Mighty Ducks D2 is equally successful. So, the next live-action Disney movie, they let Stephen Brill direct and also co-write. And that movie was
Heavyweights?
Heavyweights.
Oh, hell yeah. Judd
1995.
Apatow. Dude, I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm nice.
So,
All right.
they bring in Judd Apatow to produce and co-write, and completely bombed.
Heavyweights bombed?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think it made, like, now looking at my phone, like 17 million.
Well, it's
Which
kind
in
of like
comparison, Toy Story made like 200 million that year.
it's kind of like Freaks and Geeks, and that show like bombed when it came out, and then
Right.
became a huge deal.
That was
that-
also Judd
that
Apatow,
comes up-
correct?
Yeah, Judd Apatow.
That comes up next in the timeline, because although Heavyweights bombed, it was the first collaboration between Judd Apatow and Paul Feig, who played
Feige?
camp counselor Tim in
Okay.
Heavyweights.
He danced at the dance. Tim was the one that
Exactly.
broke the ice, and
So it was the first time they
yeah.
worked together.
I try to
So it
dance like him
bombed,
sometimes.
But a few years later, Paul Feig writes the script for the pilot for Freaks and Geeks.
Oh, okay.
And calls up Judd Apatow, who comes on board. They make Freaks and Geeks. Although it bombed, it led to the discovery of Seth Rogen, Jason Segel,
James Franco.
Yeah, Franco.
James Franco,
That one
among
show,
others.
that chick in that
The
show.
woman that was
Rick
she was
Cardellini.
in Grandma's Boy, which I believe was a Happy Madison
Right.
production. What was her name? Leah
Linda Cardellini.
Linda Cardellini. Okay.
And not only that, so I mean, that pretty much says it all right there.
That
was a
pretty
great.
much-
That was a great.
pretty much
time.
just
I
well,
enjoy
just
this.
those actors alone.
Yeah.
And Judd Apatow pretty much defined like comedies in the 2000s.
Yeah.
And
True.
not only like their group of people, John Francis Daly, who played Sam, like one of the main characters in Freaks and Geeks, has wrote the last Spider-Man movie,
The
wrote
Homecoming?
and directed
Spider-Man
The
Homecoming?
Last Vacation.
Oh.
Spider-Man Homecoming he wrote.
Okay,
And I think he directed Horrible Bosses.
I haven't seen Horrible Bosses.
And
You
then
guys
there's
seen
also
Horrible
Martin
Bosses?
Starr, who stars in Silicon Valley.
Mm.
So yeah, you
true.
trace back pretty much every successful comedy.
So what about
in
these
the 2000s, 2010s, and it all goes back to the Mighty Ducks.
to
Okay.
the writer though, right?
Interesting.
Like none of these actors did anything really other than Emilio Estevez.
In the Mighty Ducks?
Keenan
Yeah.
went on to be SNL. He's like
Oh,
the
okay.
SNL staple, I guess.
Okay.
Emmy nominated. Keenan
The only
Thompson.
ones that stick out are Keenan Thompson, Emilio Estevez, and this dude Eldon Henson, who
Yeah,
plays
he's on,
Foggy in Daredevil.
Yeah, Daredevil.
Foggy?
That's it.
Interesting. What about... What? I feel like some of them were successful child actors after the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, because some of
But
them
then,
were
I don't
also
know,
in heavyweights.
They were, and like, yeah.
Like Sean Weiss, isn't this the guy that's like hooked on meth? Yeah, look at this.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I don't want to
Oh,
see
and I also
that.
Look at how depressing
that is
that looks.
Quality
Whoa.
mug.
That's the really fat goalie.
Show it to
That guy?
show it to
No
the
way.
folks at home.
That's the really fat goalie from the Mighty Ducks.
He looks like that now?
Looks like he's 60.
Also failed to mention, although Freaks and Geeks bombed, they made kind of a spin-off called Undeclared,
That's right.
which they
I did
not
see
only
that.
discovered Jay Baruchel, who's been minorly successful,
Yeah.
but most importantly, it was the first acting role that Kevin Hart had.
Really?
I
Yeah.
don't remember. Oh,
He
wasn't
was-
he like a teacher or something?
No, he plays a student.
Oh.
It takes place in a college campus.
I knew it was a college campus. I just didn't know.
And then Paul Feig directed like Bridesmaids and
Bridesmaids is very good.
Ghostbusters, but
I
I
truly...
don't have to talk about that.
Oh, the new Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
People say it was funny. I never saw it. People,
What people?
I don't know. Just remember talking to people and they say it was pretty comical.
The
Like,
important people.
Chris Hemsworth, like the whole reverse, and like Chris Hemsworth being the
the receptionist.
the receptionist.
Yeah.
They said that was good dynamic. They thought that was fun. He was like good energy in that role. And
I
then,
was-
don't know. I like all those women comedians. So
Yesterday I was at Wizard
Thank you,
World.
Mighty Ducks, for that.
Yesterday I was
I
at
think
Wizard
Judd
World,
Apatow,
and
maybe.
there was a bunch of like Ghostbusters, like cosplayers, and they were all together, like dozens of them. Like there was an Ecto One. Is that what it's called? The Ecto One.
the car or
The car.
box.
Yeah, yeah. There was like a replica one of those, and they were all by this thing. Like they had all planned to meet up there, and like we were walking by, and I was with a friend of mine. And he's like, "I wonder what they all think of the new Ghostbusters." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like asking them is like a touchy subject, because some of them are probably like, oh, it was all right,' but I feel like the majority of them just hate it, just because it's not what the old Ghostbusters was."
Yeah, I don't know. And then the whole like gender thing of like
laughter.
that became huge. That was like a huge issue with it. People were just like, some people were like, I don't want it to be remade at all, and then some people were just like, oh, they're just trying to get women in like lead roles. And I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I thought it was a fun idea, but the previews didn't look very good.
Okay,
It's like kind of a fun idea.
talking-
Remakes in general, I fucking hate remakes.
Talking about movie sequels, all right?
Okay.
Princess Diaries. Hear me out. I've only seen the first one. My girlfriend has been watching the second one because it's on Netflix like every week. And what Disney needs to do is make like a Queen Diaries, where Anne Hathaway is now the queen
Ooh.
and teaching her daughter. That I feel like that movie would fucking kill. Just because
Interesting.
people love the Princess Diaries movies.
Yeah, I remember watching those on TV every once in a while, like for a bit. I didn't watch the full ones though.
Anne Hathaway, hit me up.
I have not seen the movie.
Catwoman has.
Cannot comment.
Anne Hathaway's a big fan of the Almost Random podcast.
Oh yeah, she sent us this
Hashtag just
Tito's.
Tito's.
Yeah,
she
so
asked us to
every week we're
display
we're
that.
attempting to get a new sponsor, and this week it is Tito's, because they sent us this free box full of Tito's stuff that was not associated with the podcast at all. We just
Yeah.
tweeted out and they sent it here.
No, let's see what's in here.
I think that one is filled with Pokemon cards.
Ooh, that's awesome. I'm glad they decided this. Yeah, it sounds like they're full of Pokemon cards. Hey.
But yeah,
Wonder
just
if
add
they come,
Tito's.
I wonder if they're able to come with another shipment of Tostitos to
I don't
enjoy
know.
the liquor.
You're already trying to set us up for our
One
next week's
sponsor at a
sponsor.
time, Kurt.
Yeah, we're trying to get 2 sponsors going.
So
Maybe
Toast-
Frito-Lay
Toast-
shout out.
Toast your Tito's, man.
Tostitos?
That's all I'm saying.
That's the nacho chip brand, right? But like usually it's just regular tortilla chip.
That's what happens when you put Tito's vodka in it.
Yeah, you're not gonna find that.
Ah.
That
Yeah.
statement
Toasted
anywhere on
Tito's.
the
well, no, I was
Yeah.
just looking to see like what
give
other.
like BuzzFeed a week and they'll steal it.
Oh yeah, you think they're looking at
It's
looking
pretty-
at
No,
our
no,
podcast
I was
for
just
inspiration?
I was
huh?
just thinking of looking at like what other people's opinions of what the most influential comedy of our generation is.
Yeah, that's
well-
a good question. I really like
Because
the
I'm sure
40-year-old
that the
virgin.
same argument could be made for like a few others as well. I just don't know them. Is what I'm saying.
Fair enough.
Like I agree with your statement, but I feel like there's probably more. Or I want to see like what the previous generation thinks theirs is.
Yeah, that'd be good. Too bad we're all from one generation, so we're not really able to. We're all millennial scum, I believe. Is that a phrase I used last night? I was talking to Jess.
I don't
You
know.
probably weren't listening.
Explain to the folks at home who Jess is.
Jess is our muse. She inspires us all to be better podcasters and has used our social security numbers to actually steal most of
Alright.
our identities.
I feel like if we go to IMDb
Oh, and
trivia,
for the folks in Canada, the movie we're referring to is Champions.
Hmm?
The Canadian
Heavyweights
title of
changed?
the Mighty Ducks.
Oh, it's called Champions?
Champions.
okay, here we go.
Champions?
You
In case
ready?
anyone was confused.
Here's some Mighty Ducks trivia. Did you know the character's name Gordon Bombay is actually a combination of 2 well-known brands of gin, Gordon's and
Yeah,
Bombay?
Sapphire, yeah.
Okay. All right, here. Let's see where
I
this.
feel like
rabbit
that's something
hole
that
takes
like
us.
probably wasn't discussed in the writers' room, and someone was just like,
You
"That's
think
a fun
it's-
fact. Let
You
me
think
add
it's
that."
the only kids movie that begins with a DUI?
No, 8 Crazy Nights. Fucking hate 8 Crazy
that's not a
Nights.
kid's movie.
Like easily my least favorite Adam Sandler movie.
Okay, fun facts. Jake Gyllenhaal, who was unknown at the time, auditioned for the role of Charlie Conway, but
Ah,
his parents wouldn't
Conway.
let him do the movie, so the producers ended up casting
Casting.
Joshua Jackson.
Yeah.
Uh,
Conway.
when the Anaheim Mighty Ducks were added as an expansion team to the National Hockey League, they were named after the movie because the team was owned by Disney. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then I think Disney either got rid of the team. I know their branding changed. They're just now
It's
bringing.
also the most important movie in NHL history.
Yeah,
and
Miracle's
then
good though, but
Here's another fun one. Charlie Sheen was offered the role for Gordon Bombay, but turned it down, and later on his brother Emilio Estevez took the role.
you guys knew they were brothers, right?
I knew that, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen.
Bill Murray was considered to play Gordon Bombay, but deemed too old.
Dude, is that pre or post Groundhog Day? That was post Groundhog
That's
Day.
post.
Yeah, Groundhog Day's great. That's all. I don't know.
Actually, no, I think it was a year before.
Yeah, I'm wondering if like this idea of generations like favorite comedies. Like that's the thing is like
I didn't
there's
say
kids.
it's the best or my favorite.
No,
It's
that's
just the
true.
most important.
The most important. That's a good distinction. I really think the stuff Judd Apatow was doing was like very influential, but you're saying that was all caused by this, which is fair.
Okay,
It
so
all traces back to the Mighty Ducks.
this whole movie was filmed from January 22nd, 1992, and ended on April 11th. That's like
Yeah.
3 months.
4 months production time. I don't know enough about movie production to know if that
That seems really quick.
How long?
4 months.
3 months.
It's pretty efficient filming.
That's probably because they're working with so many kids.
They had
So
to
you
do it
can't,
like quickly.
Legally work.
Here you go.
Yeah.
The
perhaps.
movie ends with Gordon getting on a Greyhound bus. The second movie begins with him getting off a Greyhound bus.
Nice.
That's how it
So
should.
what we haven't talked about is D3, the only one that I still own a copy of.
Is it on VHS?
Yeah, it's on VHS. D3, I believe, is when they're in college, high school.
No, they're in like some fancy high school.
Fancy high
Yeah,
school.
like
And they get a
all
new
their parents
coach.
are like, all right, we can all afford to send these kids to like a boarding school for hockey.
What's weird
But they
about
get-
D2 though is like they're playing in the Junior Olympics.
Yeah, I remember that against like
But-
the USSR.
For
Iceland.
some reason, the Olympic Committee chose a Pee Wee hockey team from Minnesota to just be the Olympic
Yeah,
team.
yeah. Instead of like picking the best from around the
And
country.
then the kids they pick from around the rest of the country just have one specific skill.
Yeah, the knuckle pucks and whatnot. The
Dude,
goalie!
Do the knuckle puck.
It's the goalie, yeah. No, I mean, I didn't realize, but apparently, I mean, that's how the baseball, like, the Little League World Series works, is that it's all the teams from the U.S. play each other, and then it's, like, the best team from the U.S. They don't pick and choose. It's like, oh, that's why what was it, the Jackie Robinson school?
Yeah, that's why it was controversial.
Yeah, well, that was controversial because they had
age,
the age, and I think it was the district size.
Yeah.
Like, they were, like, kind of, there were some people that were out of the district that were playing with the team or something.
Well, also in the first Mighty Ducks, I think before they're the Ducks in the movie, they're like District 5 or something.
Yeah, District 5.
So you got to think there are like multiple leagues or divisions, and it's Minnesota, so hockey's pretty popular. So there's got to be tons of teams. And
Yeah.
they just choose this one to represent America.
Well, did this team win its league? How did Mighty Ducks How did D1 end?
They just won their like league championship.
Yeah. Which isn't that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, unless
Yeah.
they were like the best league.
Maybe they were? No, they weren't though, because they were trash before Gordon Bombay showed up. Also,
You'd also think like the Olympic Committee wouldn't choose a team run by a coach who has like a DUI in his record.
Yeah, DUI and like is just a dirtbag. That's the
I
next
don't know.
podcast. Is Gordon Bombay a dirtbag or is
dude,
he
that's a
not?
good question. I wish there was more lead up. The DUI, I
Hero
mean,
or
that's
villain?
one.
Yeah,
that's
hold
one
on.
bad decision. But like, I don't know. He seemed to have a bad reputation. But then like he turns it around pretty quick in the movie. So because he falls in love, is that what does it? Does that make people that are shitbags not
What did
shitbags?
Keanu do
I
in
don't think so.
Hardball? I can't remember.
He was a
never seen
degenerate
Hardball.
gambler. I don't know what he did.
It's pretty much the same exact plot.
It is. Hardball's great too.
Yeah.
Do you not think it's as good as D2, D1?
Oh,
Say
here
it
we
pretty
go.
well.
Here we go. All right, let's get it going, man.
Hardball or D2?
Hardball or D2? What you got?
Fist fight.
The
I'm a
comparison
hu-
doesn't even make sense.
I'm a
I know.
huge Keanu
D1
Reeves.
and Hardball.
Fine,
All right, did
fine.
D1
D1 and
Hardball.
Hardball. Which
I want to
Which
hear.
one's better?
I would go
I want-
Hardball. I like Hardball more.
Let's hear it out. I mean,
As an
Hardball-
adult, I like Hardball more.
I was
As a
gonna say,
kid,
as
I
an
liked Mighty
adult-
Ducks more.
As an adult, because I've never seen Hardball, but I know it's pretty sad.
It's not that sad. I mean, there's some
There's
sad
sad
parts.
parts.
Yeah. Same with
But-
Mighty Ducks.
In D1, did you cry during D1? I feel like
I
if
don't
I
think
went,
so. I don't
If-
think
if
so.
I
The
went
saddest
that-
part of D1 is when what? Like Charlie Conway hurts his wrist or something, and then he's like, "Look,
No, that's D2.
that is D2."
Yeah.
Fuck.
All the
if,
sad parts.
if I
can
went in
be
that living room right
Shit.
now and watched Hardball and then watched D1, I'd probably cry or tear up during Hardball,
Yeah.
Well, it's,
and
yeah,
I
it's
wouldn't
more of
do
a
anything about
drama.
D1.
Yeah, it's more of a drama. It's not Disney owned. It's like Warner Brothers. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen Hardball.
Just leaves
I don't know.
your podcast?
What?
I
So
haven't
you're
seen any
going?
of these movies.
Okay, fair enough.
Kurt, what do you think is like a
you had to
defining
guess.
comedy? A defining comedy that you
Yeah,
think
let's
that like
all go around. Dan did his
Finding what?
a defining comedy.
Our generation.
it defines a genre perhaps of comedy, like
Just
something that
like-
set the trend, started a trend of.
40-year-old virgin, I guess.
That
Yeah.
was gonna be
I
mine.
like that one.
I think that set the trend, but also that sparked from Dan's
Yes.
movie.
There you go. It's a loops back around.
I was gonna say 40-year-old virgin just because like
It was like
there
the
were so
first
many
bigger-
that or what's that? Fuck, that Jonah Hill movie.
Super bad.
Superbad.
Superbad.
That's
A
another
lot
one.
of people really liked
Because there was a
Superbad.
couple other good ones before that came out, like
Ooh,
before Superman. But yeah, it wasn't that same. That was the wake of the.
The Mighty Ducks
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
I was gonna say, as far as genre or like really important, Dazed and Confused seem to really capture a
True.
like setting pretty well of like older high
Did-
schools. So
Did
like
Dazed and Confused do good when it came out?
I
Or
don't
was
know.
That, a
That
flop?
might have flopped.
Because
That might
that-
have flopped.
Because that
That's
seems
fair.
like a movie that could have easily flopped, and then just like our generation, we were just so like interested in the previous
In the
generation
previous-
that we
mhm.
sparked it.
D2 made more than Shawshank Redemption.
No way.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Shawshank
wild.
was a huge bomb.
Yeah, I mean Stephen King's stuff usually doesn't tend to do well like box office wise, and a lot of it's
The
TV.
majority of the Stephen King adaptations are pretty awful.
Yeah, they are. Me and my brother tried watching the Stand TV movie, and the acting in that is leaves a lot to be desired.
Okay,
Alien.
yeah, Dazed and Confused made $8 million in the box office. The budget was 6.9.
Yeah,
So
it
it
lost
bombed.
money.
Yeah, it
but I was
bombed.
but Dazed and Confused did get this like career started for like Ben Affleck, I believe, McConaughey. Like, there's a lot of big actors that kind
Yeah.
of got their start in that, but then there's a lot of nobody's.
Yeah.
It's a big
But
cast.
I mean-
it's a large cast.
But that is definitely another movie that bombed when it came out, and then has probably made so much more money since it like came out on DVD.
I could see that. I mean, even the soundtrack. I have the soundtrack, and it's pretty good. I like it.
I bet the soundtrack made more than the movie.
You want? Yeah, Google
Look
that.
at
I bet it did. That's actually funny you say that, because CDs started popping off hard.
Soundtrack sales?
That should be good. I mean, if it sold 1 million copies, it probably already made $8 million. Then.
There's the plot, the cast. I don't see anything about the soundtrack.
Oh man, this
wait, go back.
coffee is.
It should be a
Primo.
Soundtracks. All right.
soundtrack.
Oh, there's multiple. 1993 and even more Dazed and Confused in 94. Were there 2 movies? Like, was there a
No.
shitty
No,
sequel
just
that we
They
did?
probably just added more songs from that era because
But-
the first one did well, maybe.
It doesn't say what the sales are, but yeah, they probably just released a second soundtrack with more of the music from the movie. Is my guess.
Mr. Nice Guy, man, it's great.
But I wouldn't doubt that this sold a killing of a soundtrack just with the sound, with the track list.
It is. It has good songs on it.
Yeah.
But I would go that. I really like. I don't know like how really like paramount or instrumental it was to comedy as a whole, but like the Broken Lizard guys, their stuff is like raunchy. I don't know if it just went like American Pie was kind of like. I guess it was more of like when things are starting to become like more accepted, like vulgarity and like sexual things. Like
I think. Well, there's a ton of those in like the late 70s. I think like after Animal House, there's like Revenge of the Nerds and a whole bunch of shitty
So
movies.
where does Wet Hot
So-
American
Yeah.
Summer
American
fall?
Pie kind of brought that back.
that's true.
So I thought about that because Wet Hot American Summer is kind of like the second most important.
Yeah, the second.
Ah.
To that first
Just-
one, though.
just-
it still
yeah,
branches
yeah.
off of that first one, kind of.
Go get some coffee, boys.
I don't think there's anyone.
Like, isn't
Any
Judd
actors
Apatow
in
have anything to do with
common.
this?
No.
No. Yeah,
No.
because this is definitely like in that same vein of like it sparked a bunch of actors' careers.
Right.
Like Bradley Cooper, Amy Poehler. Who else is on this list? Paul Rudd. Jolo Trujillo. True. I don't know how you say it. Trujillo. I don't know.
Ken Marino.
Yeah, this is another really good movie. And then when they made the show, that blew my mind that they got all those actors
There's
back.
2 seasons.
Yeah. The second one wasn't as good, though.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Any other movies, Troy?
Yeah, I was like I said, the Broken Lizard American Pie. Those were pretty good. I will say that I don't know, like, I don't know. One American Summer had like a lot of people I think that were like already somewhat. I guess all these people that are actors, like it's hard to find someone that's completely unknown. But like Amy Poehler and like Michael Ian Black, I know they were a part of what the Upright Citizens Brigade, like comedy, kind of like troupe,
I don't know.
SNL.
like Matt Walsh and them. Yeah, like
They
it's,
were in
it's,
SNL
it's like a
shortly after, I think.
sketch show. Yeah, so I don't know.
Oh.
I guess that's true. They were on SNL after What Hot American Summer?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Man, What Hot American Summer's older than I realized.
Paul Rudd starred in Halloween 6.
Did he?
Really?
He starred?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's the lead actor in it.
All right, we're gonna
And
go
he's
down a
awful in it.
we're gonna go in a Paul Rudd K-hole right now.
It's a K-hole.
Ketamine.
Nice.
Kurt knows.
We're about to go into a long,
Alright.
vomit-induced
So Wet Hot
hallucination.
American Summer was in 2001, and before, oh man, Paul Rudd's first thing was in 1992 in Jamie's Secret. I'm trying to think of if I've heard
First
of it.
movie was Clueless.
Yeah, Clueless was his first movie in '95,
Yeah.
and then he was in the
Riding that
Clueless TV series for an
Java
episode.
train.
Toot, toot Java
What if we
train.
just had two conversations going at once?
Sounds like the worst podcast ever.
Just go-
One headphone is.
We only have an hour, guys.
You
Let's
mix it,
cram
right?
as
If
much
you
as
guys
we can.
weren't sharing a mic, we could have the left headphone be me and Kurt's conversation, the right headphone be Joel and
You want
Dan's.
to talk about the timeline for the Halloween movies?
No, I
I have
don't.
a.
Anyone got like a whiteboard?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no,
like,
yeah.
don't.
We'll save that for
No.
closer to
Okay.
when the new Halloween movie comes out.
Yeah, I agree. I do want to see that. Can we all go see that at
Oh, I
midnight?
definitely want to see that.
Let's go see that at
We'll
midnight.
review it.
The timeline is baffling.
Here's a good tangent. From here, it looks like you guys seen the Planet of the Apes with Mark Wahlberg.
No.
No.
Oh, it's pretty good. There's a scene though, like he goes and he finds this ship that was like crashed on the ocean, and he's like, oh, this dusty screen, and he's like starts touching, and everything starts turning on, and that's what you're looking like. It's just like I see all these fingerprints on your iPad from here.
Oh, from that glare,
and it
that
looks like
angle.
there's a dirty like screen that's just working perfectly fine.
It's just like like a ship that crashed hundreds of years ago, and yet
And he ends
nothing
up-
is wrong.
Yeah, and then he ends up like, oh.
Spoil it, dude.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
Fucking like
oh,
it's
yeah, I
a
was
Planet
just
of the
gonna
Apes.
spoil
It's
the
a
entire
remake of
movie.
like it's like a movie that was like 30 years old, and they remade it the
It was
first
really.
time.
I thought it was pretty good as far as
I heard-
masks and stuff.
I did hear that the remakes were really good.
As far as
Like overall.
budget wise,
like
it
the
was
new
way
trilogy.
Yeah.
way
Yeah,
more
it's
than
good.
the originals though were really good too.
Isn't James Franco an ape in one of them?
And he's
He's not an
newest.
ape. He's a
He plays a-
He's a
scientist.
person.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's a human being. But no, that's the newest Planet of the Apes. It's Planet of the Apes.
Oh, like
Dawn,
Dawn
Dawn of the
World
Planet.
isn't there like
Yeah.
War of the
It's a
Planet of the
prequel.
Apes and shit like that?
Yeah.
Like there's
It's-
like weird names now.
the Wahlberg one's the remake of like the first original one.
You know, I miss the good old days when it was just like
I like the
Back to the
first
Future
original.
1, Back to the Future 2,
Oh yeah, right.
not War of the Back to the
Yeah,
Future,
and then they
Dawn
squeeze
of the Back to the Future.
squeeze in a prequel.
Which one comes first?
They're done making sequels. They're like, let's just go backwards before the first one.
Yeah.
Make 3 more movies.
It's like Purge style, son.
Yo, Purge is coming out with a show, TV
Star
show.
Wars.
Yeah, I saw that. I haven't watched one episode or movie of theirs, and
I
yet I'm
don't
still
think-
extremely interested.
I don't think the show's out yet, but I've seen 2 of the movies, I think. I actually kind of like those movies because it's kind of realistic.
Have you guys been following the Star Wars at all? Like the
Yeah.
past recent ones?
No.
I haven't
I have.
seen any of them.
I like
Oh,
them.
yeah.
I don't know why like super Star Wars nerds are like hating on it so much.
Yeah, I feel like with any movie with such a budget, with like that, you get.
Yeah, with
Kinda
such a
decent.
budget and such a
Mhm.
following, such a huge following,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
always going to be negative feedback.
This
Yeah.
goes back to the kind of the Ghostbusters dilemma. It's like when it's a cult film, Star Wars just happens to be the most like accessible example because it's like maybe the biggest like cult film to where it's not even like
Yeah.
cult. It's just like mainstream pop culture.
Like a
But it's just
religion.
like that, like yeah, exactly, like a religion. It's like the feedback from fans is just like I don't know. People at some point it's just like, is it entertaining? Like, does it need to be a religious experience, or do you just like want to have fun and like take yourself away to another universe? Like, I didn't see the Solo movie, but like a lot of people that I talked to were just like, it's good if you just think about it in the fact that like
It's a movie.
this is a young Han Solo,
Yeah.
just being a renegade instead of like there's no lightsabers and like just like
Yeah.
immediately like going
Yeah.
in negatively. It's like, yeah, it's about a space bandit and that's it. Like if you go into just being like it's about a space bandit and you're not like trying to connect it to
Yeah, it's
everything
a
else.
decent movie.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't feel like I got ripped off money-wise by seeing it. But then again, I use MoviePass. So,
Shout out to MoviePass, sponsor us.
Dude,
you have a lot of
no,
money, we know it.
you don't have any money. They're literally dying as we speak.
They died and then have been resurrected or something.
So they ran out of money, and then they borrowed a bunch, like millions of dollars.
Smart.
But now the thing is like every day, if you open the app, you don't know if it's gonna let you book a ticket or not,
Oh man.
because like they're either have the money to do it or they don't at any given time. So like I think that there's a Twitter account now that tweets out like, "Yo, MoviePass is up," and then like 20 minutes later, it's like, "Yeah, it's back down."
Yeah, this tweet just
Like
ruined
3
it
movies.
basically.
Because like I've been wanting to go see that movie 8th Grade. I might actually do
Dude,
it today.
I'm definitely gonna see that.
You want to see it today?
I'm going to hang out with
Yeah.
my parents later. They just got back from vacay. Gonna eat some turkey, then just come back and
Play
sleep.
by the bay.
Yeah, go ahead, hang out by the bed.
I want to see that movie, but I just never know if MoviePass is working, and I pay $10 a month. And another problem with MoviePass right now is if you try and cancel, it literally just won't let you. Like it'll act like the system's. I'm not even kidding. People have been like emailing them like, "Hey, I want to cancel this," and they don't respond.
Nope.
And then eventually they'll respond like, "Okay, here you go. Like we canceled it." And then even if
And
it
you get
does
charged again next
no,
week.
even if it says you got canceled, then like the next month you get charged again.
Yeah.
Like their whole thing is fucked. Like it was such a good idea, and it did change the whole market because now like AMC has their own like movie pass type deal.
Subscription model.
Yeah,
I like that.
it's a great idea. I'm just waiting for like 20 years from now when you can just you can pay $50 at your house and rent the movie the day it comes out.
The whole point for me is to like go into the theater though. That's
But
like
I'm
the huge part.
I'm a techno guy, so like I have the sound system. I got the massive TV. Yeah.
Got the Tito's.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I love watching movies at home, but like lately I've really enjoyed like going to a theater and like spending way too much money on snacks because I don't bring my own like an idiot.
Loud sounds though.
Yeah, loud sounds.
If you're not sneaking your own snacks into the movie, you should fucking die.
Sorry guys, I'm gonna go hang myself. From a
it's hot
Twizzler
take.
rope that cost me $18 at the
$18.
nearest
What about
AMC.
you don't get the Nerds rope?
No, it's not strong enough.
That thing's so
Twizzlers
gross.
are a stale Twizzler. I mean, God, you could really make a horse go fast with one of those.
Super rope.
What's a super rope?
From like the ballpark.
Nerd to nerds.
No,
Frosted?
no, that's Nerd rope.
That's nerd rope.
You're a nerd.
A super rope's like you buy.
Is that a
from,
whole
like,
setup for that? Is that what that was?
No, it was just a clever way out of that.
A super rope's like 8 feet long, and you buy them from like the Sox game, and it's just in a giant wrapper.
It just like rolls out. Like who wasn't it?
Like a fruit rope?
No,
in,
you're
Ace
thinking of
Ventura.
bubble tape.
No, in Dumb and Dumber, in the van, they had the thing where you could pull out the Twizzler and then
It
chop
was Wayne's World.
it. Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Ah,
The
yes.
van with
I've
the-
never
I
seen.
think those were
Nerds rope.
red vines.
It
No?
wasn't, because it was continuous. It
I think
was
it's
like
Red Vines.
But I think it was like, because
It
Twizzler
was
is like a braided.
It was like the bubble tape of Twizzlers. You
I
know,
think
it was
that
like
might have been red
Spencer,
vines.
and they
You're right. It's like a perfect cylinder. It wasn't.
yeah.
Yeah, I forget what that is,
It
but
wasn't-
You've never
it
seen
tastes
Wayne's
a little
World?
bit different.
Nope, never seen it.
Or Wayne's World 2?
Never
Wayne's
seen
World 2 is
either.
pretty great.
You really should.
Christopher
They are
Walken,
good.
yeah.
I'd recommend.
It is good.
I'm sure it's on like HBO Go or
I
something.
just like one of my favorites is just when Garth's just like I think that like seductress pours him that glass of whiskey.
Fuck's sake.
And he's just like takes a sip. He's like, I think your Coke went bad. I just love that line for really no reason, but
Easily the funniest line.
in all of
Both
Wayne's
movies.
World, yes, that or like I don't know when he's talking to Christopher Walken about. I don't even remember.
didn't
It was
that
in like
start
his
off as
apartment
a-
or something.
Didn't that start as an SNL bit?
Mm-hmm.
It did.
And it came into a
I think
movie?
it's probably the best
yeah.
SNL movie.
Yeah, definitely. Like, there's other movies that are offshoots of skits, though, right?
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
Night at the Roxbury.
Oh, that
Yes,
I
that's
like
true.
that.
I
We
forgot
actually-
that was an
that's
SNL
a
skit.
SNL
Yeah, we talked about that on the last pod.
On the last
Oh, did
podcast,
you?
we talked about Night at the
Yeah, we
Roxbury.
did. A little bit of nostalgia.
It's all circling back.
It's all coming full
Yeah,
circle.
I'm thinking also Mel Brooks as far as like really important comedies. His like I don't know, his comedic stylings are very silly and I enjoyed them. So I'd put him up there too. That because this reminded me a bit like Wayne's World also reminded me of like Spaceballs for some reason. For really no reason. They're not really that similar in any way, but I don't know. I don't know. That
For
kind of
comedy.
relates. I was talking about the Three Stooges.
The
That was kind of my
Schwartz.
topic for
So, yeah, it's kind of in the
Kinda
same
ties
vein.
yeah, kind of in the same of like that was very, very ancient comedy. Like,
I
Ancient
fucking
comedy.
hate this Three Stooges.
dude, I don't understand
Do you really?
why.
Yeah, I do not
You
like
don't
the Three
like it?
Stooges
Oh,
at
good.
all.
You know,
It's
like
like-
slapstick.
It's
No.
like it's like pre-cartoon type cartoon humor before they could actually make a good cartoon.
Yeah.
It's just like bopping them on the head and like, oh, here.
It's definitely well after cartoons.
No, they didn't have the technology.
Yeah,
Cartoon-
video animation. That's
These
the
guys
word
had
that
so
went into.
many ideas, they didn't have the time to draw them out. They just had to act them out. They're like, hey, let's just speed it up and make it look like we're just.
When did the Three Stooges start?
I believe they started in like
1964, I think.
no, it was
64.
way. It was really early.
It had to be in the 20s or the
Yeah,
12s.
it was in the 20s. It was in
It
the
had to be.
20s. Like I believe they
Circus.
they started with like this
I was
guy
gonna say,
Ned
1930.
Ted Healy. Ted Healy is what the Three Stooges started with. Was this man Ted Healy and his show?
If it went all the way through Shemp's
All right,
70s.
here I'm gonna read the first
Oh,
paragraph
man.
off Wikipedia.
You're gonna do it.
The Three Stooges were an American what
Vaudeville.
vaudeville? What's that
Mhm.
mean?
The style.
Okay.
Vaudeville. Yeah, it's like
Okay, they were an American vaudeville and comedy team active from 1922 until 1970. Best known for their 190 short subject films by Columbia Pictures that have been regularly airing on television since 1958. Wait,
58. Short films? Is that different than the episode then? Right?
That must be different from the
No,
show.
their episodes I think are referred to as like short.
Oh,
But so if they were
They're
active
standalone
from
like 15, 20 minute things.
They weren't like
but
building.
if they were only on television
No,
in
they were all
1958, where would you see them before?
separate.
In movie theaters?
Yeah,
No,
they
like
they would
before a movie?
traveling.
Oh,
They would
yeah.
do traveling performances.
Like live shows?
No, the
Oh.
people back in the day, like my grandpa would go. You'd go to the theater like every Sunday to like,
See a live show?
or
like a
show
movie.
or the news.
They
or
would
like-
show like cartoons or short films before movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Their hallmark was physical farce and slapstick. In films, the Stooges were commonly known by their actual first names. 6 Stooges appeared over the act's run, and only 3 active at any given time. Mo Howard and Larry Fine were mainstays throughout the ensemble's nearly 50-year run, and pivotal third Stooge was played by, in order of appearance, Shemp Howard, Curly Howard, Shemp Howard again, Joe Besser, and Curly Joe Derrida.
Dorito. Hey,
Joe Dorito.
Joe Dorito.
Damn, so those two
Yeah.
dudes were just being idiots for 50 years.
Dude,
and
it's like
getting paid gangbusters.
like being idiots. I feel
I
like
wonder how
'cause
much they
I
hated
just feel
that.
like as a like it's. I don't think it's that dumb though. I think like their shit is actually very
But if you're,
like fun.
I don't know.
Not
I
that
feel
stupid.
like you would get so sick of that because every time you go out in public,
Yeah, people are like, oh, do the thing, do the thing.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh.
just like hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Like, there's an episode of The Office where, like, Andy hurts himself by,
Oh
like,
yeah, with
by mistake.
Will
He's like,
Ferrell.
it's like, oh, Office funny guy. He's like, do something funny. And he just, like, pours coffee down his shirt.
Oh god. Like that's the thing is like I don't know. I think it's like there is like the physical part of it, which is like where all the jokes come from and like whatever. But like I think it's smarter than that. Like they like the scenarios they have are just very like the one I remember is like okay Mo's like he's very stressed or something, so like okay we're gonna like go relax in a cabin or something, and like they go to this cabin and of course like all this crazy stuff happens and like bears and like other people in the woods. Man, I'm really not doing a good job of explaining this. I haven't
here's
watched
some-
it when I was
Sounds hilarious.
just like I don't like I guess they're being idiots, but it's not like I don't think they're idiots. I think
They have,
they're very smart people. I think
so-
they knew what they were doing. I
so-
guess they were just playing the part. Is that what you're saying
What
would be
you're tr-
annoying? They're playing this role of idiots and then that's what people
Well, yeah, you can't like.
What you're trying to say is they have a deeper, more insightful message that they're trying to communicate.
I think
it took 'em 50
they're just
years
taking
to-
like everyday scenarios and then like
If you're out in public,
they're
people
showing-
expect you to be like your
Yeah.
character
yeah,
because
I
they've
mean
never seen like the actual person.
well, I guess that's what's interesting is
Is
Mo
their
and
real
like
name,
Mo
though,
was like
right?
a stooge
Exactly.
even
And
with
that's
Ted
to it.
Healy.
So that's like the Stephen Colbert, though.
Well, yeah, here.
where
Here's
he screwed up.
here's some history. From 1922 to 1934, they were called Ted Healy and his Stooges. The Three Stooges began in 1922 as part of a raucous. I don't know. What does that say?
Ruckus.
Rancor.
Is that ruckus? Oh shit.
Rancor,
Okay,
Those ruckus.
raucous.
like a monster.
I don't know.
Star
Vaudeville
Wars.
act called Ted Healy and his
That's what I
Stooges, also known as Ted Healy and his Southern Gentlemen,
Mm.
and Ted Healy and his Racketeers. Okay, so that was from 1922 to 34. And then from 34 to 46, it was just called Mo, Larry, and Curly. I don't know if this is just the different phases of them.
Yeah, so Shemp was with them for the Ted Healy stuff, but then he actually Shemp left to do like solo stuff. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, I can do my own.
I'm
thing.
better than
And
this.
then it sucked, so he came back.
Yeah, and then
Oh,
in
he came back
1946 he came back.
He came back when Curly had like a stroke.
From
like-
1946 to 1955 he came back.
I don't like that.
And then Joe Besser replaced Shemp again from 56 to 58.
Which is interesting. So that's something I was going to talk about. So Shemp died, and he was still under contract with Columbia Pictures to do 5 more movies. So what they did is they just hired someone else, and it's a move that's now referred to as like the fake Shemp, and it's illegal to do. They just hired someone else to fill in the contract. Like, didn't end Shemp's contract. They're just like, all right, we're going to give you the last 5 movies, and you're going to be like fake Shemp. And they would just show like, they wouldn't show his face close up, and it would be a lot of shots from like
behind.
so you didn't see his face. But like there are scenes where it's like, oh, that's clearly not Shemp, but like
Oh,
They
they
did
tried to play it off like it was him to
That's
like
what,
sell it.
I believe so, or they just didn't create a new contract and end the other one, so they just like thought they could do this for 5 movies, and then it was legal at the time, and now it's not legal to do that.
That's
Like
what
you
they
have
did
to.
with Crispin Glover and Back to the Future 2.
Did it?
He's not really in it, but they got an actor, like, put a bunch of makeup on him. Because in the second one, he's supposed to be, like, really old.
Oh yes.
So they put a ton of makeup on the
Okay.
actor, and then they just wrote in, like, that he hurt his back, so he's, like, hanging upside down,
Yeah, that's right.
just to disguise that it's a different actor. And then Crispin Glover sued them.
Yeah, and that maybe was a reason why they like they might have sued him because of like the fake Shemp becoming illegal, or like maybe that was like one of the things that like maybe that was a pivotal case.
Yo, all these
Did it.
people died tragic deaths.
Oh God, I didn't know that.
Okay,
I knew
I
it
mean,
really-
not really tragic.
Was
Just
it
like,
like sledgehammer and anvil to the head? Or
Yeah, it was like
yeah,
it was like
One
they
force
both got
trauma.
they got their eyes poked out
Yeah.
one too many
Yeah.
times type deal.
they're not tragic. It's just like none of them seems like their old age. Like one of them is lung cancer. Mo Howard died of lung cancer. Larry Fine died of a stroke.
Mm.
Shemp Howard died of a heart attack. Curly Howard died of a cerebral hemorrhage. Joe Besser died of heart failure, and Curly Joe Dorita died of pneumonia. I guess that's kind of old age.
Yeah, I
Because
mean
if you
those.
have pneumonia and you're young, you could probably fight it off easier.
Yeah, there's just who knows how old they were when that happened. So
Well, we'll
like,
call it
did
Silly
Joel
stuff.
clearly did not like Three Stooges? Were you a Three Stooges guy, Dan? Growing up at all?
I mean, I
I
don't...
watched-
I mean, when you grew up in the
Little bit.
1940s, like
Yeah.
were
Yeah,
you
when I grew up
into
in the
it?
Depression. Loved it.
The only way to get through those rough
No,
times.
I did.
Damn right
It's
you did.
been probably like 15 or 20 years since that
Same.
last.
Okay.
I think if
Three
we
Stooges
watched them, you
short.
guys would realize like it's good character work. Like it's there. It's all just character. It's just them playing character, and it just happens to be that usually it's the same stereotypical where Mo's the leader, like always, but like Curly's always like the most oafish one and like makes the most mistakes. Then Larry's kind of like in the middle, and like things. But I really liked Shemp. I don't know. I really was a big Shemp fan. I liked episodes with him in them
Okay, here's
because
a,
I thought Curly's stuff wasn't that funny. Like it was.
here's
Shemp had weird greasy hair.
all
Didn't like that guy one bit.
right. Here's a
man.
fun thing. Gary Lassen, grandnephew-in-law of Larry Fine, opened the the Three Stooges Museum
Wait,
called
Grand-
the Stoogeum in 2004.
Grand-
In a renovated architect's office in Springhouse, Pennsylvania, 25 miles north of Philadelphia. The museum quality exhibits fill 3 stories, 10,000 square feet, including an 85-seat theater. Peter Seeley, editor of the book Stoogeology, Essays
Yeah.
of the Three Stooges, said that the Stoogeum has more stuff than I ever even imagined existed. 25,000
But they had
people
so
visit
many
yearly.
sets.
Many during the annual
2,500.
yeah 2,500
Joel, I appreciate you trying to rep it. We need more. They need more fans. Fans, we need to. We're gonna organize a day on April
That,
2nd.
Okay,
that,
hold
but
on.
that unit is in thousands, so it's 2.5 million.
million. Yeah, thank you, Kurt. Yes. Need to find
2,500
print next time.
2,500 people
Yeah,
visit it
you know how
yearly.
many that is a day?
6.8
Oh no!
Like one family.
It's about like 2 Stooges worth. Two
Oh my
Stooge
God.
troops.
Okay, 2,500 people visit it yearly. Many during the annual Three Stooges fan club gathering in April.
So basically, oh wow, it was in April. That's a weird coincidence. I just made that up. So imagine how many of those people are on that day.
So yeah,
Imagine
there's-
how few people are on every other
on
day
that
now.
one day,
Yeah.
you got to
Yeah.
assume maybe 300 people show up.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
best part of that story, grand nephew-in-law.
He took matters into his own hands to pay for this Stoogeum.
Well, no one
Dude.
else is gonna do it. I'm gonna be the
It'll
one
be
to
closed
Stooges
in
are
10 years.
Dude, that's like, I don't know.
taken off.
My father's
It's been open 14
older,
years.
He's an older generation, but like he was huge into Stooges, so of course that's kind of how I got introduced to it. But like I've watched a couple of like bits lately, and I'm
Did
just
you
like,
watch the movie?
no.
The new
With
one
Will
with
Sasso.
Will Sasso?
No, I did not.
Oh,
Will Sasso, and
yeah.
you know who else is in that? You know who played Mo?
Wasn't it
The guy from Silicon Valley. That's the billionaire. That's the guy that plays Mo Howard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's just like the guy that's like Trace Combo, bitch.
Yeah.
That's
The
that
guy's
was Mo.
like, this guy fucks.
Yeah, yeah, the Silicon Valley
He
billionaire.
was in The Office, too, in the final season.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
He was
didn't
the,
watch.
like,
The
Boom
boom
mic guy?
boomstick, boom mic.
Oh, I heard that he was like, and then he was friends with Jim and Pam. or
yeah, it
something.
was like
Yeah.
the worst.
Yeah, he like
So,
ruined. He
that.
ruined the show for many people.
Yeah.
Really? If he's only in it for one season, why? Just because they're starting
Well,
to... That changes the dynamic. They had to do something. That show was going on.
No. In the last season, they changed it to where it made it seem like Pam was gonna break up with Jim to go with that guy.
No way.
Yeah, it was like a love
I know
triangle type
they
thing.
were going in like
And
counseling.
there's a whole like a whole fan theory that she cheated on Jim with that dude. So it like pissed everybody off
But
because
it's
it's
just
like
a fan theory.
everything was fine for so long, but even the fact that they made it seem like they were like hooking up at all, it pissed so many people off. Cause like,
They ever kiss or anything, or they just like
I don't
it was
think
just
so.
glances. Jim looks at the cameraman a lot.
Well, no, it
with
was
weird
like
looks,
they were
maybe.
hanging out
there's-
outside of work together.
There's an episode where she goes to like his apartment.
Yeah, which is it's like fucked up. Like,
Who-
why
so
are you
is
gonna
the
do that in the
camera
last
guy-
season?
The camera guy's still there. They're
The
still...
camera guy's like outside
Yeah,
filming like
filming.
through the window.
Yeah.
Okay, weird.
And she has her mic, I think, right?
Yeah.
And then she turns it off.
But then she leaves.
Yeah, it's just like, why are you waiting till the last
was
season
just-
to do this weird like romantic?
Because it was renewed for one more season and they had to think of
Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps. That's weird.
something.
Tell you where that didn't
back to the
happen.
Three Stooges
Tell you where
movie.
that didn't happen. The Three Stooges. They didn't have any weird romantic boom mic subplots. They might have.
Okay,
180 short
Here we
films.
go. The Three Stooges in 2018. On February 3rd, 2016, C3 announced a new action-adventure film titled The Three
I feel like
Stooges.
action adventure.
the three,
Action adventure is the weirdest part of this.
action
Oh, there's
adventure
no way
film.
this is going to theaters.
titled The Three Little Stooges. It'll star Gordy
Yeah, no.
de Stijor, Liam Dow, and Luke Clark as 12-year-old versions of Moe, Larry, and Curly.
Baby Sheldon.
The first film, which will set the foundation for future films and television
God.
spin-offs,
No.
is set to begin production in November 2017 and expected to release in 2018. The screenplay was written by Harris Goldberg. Okay.
Hate that.
The film's budget is $5.8 million. On July 19th, 2017, C3 began seeking crowdfunding to pay for a portion of the budget. In August 2017, they exceeded their minimum goal of $50,000.
No way.
People
Who would pay to...
want to see that, I guess.
I just think of little Sheldon.
Well, so
and
I
it
think
makes
of
me
Ace Ventura.
angry.
All right, hold
Oh
on.
yeah, little
Junior
baby,
Pet Detective or
Junior
whatever.
Pet Detective,
Or Son of Mask.
There are Three
Son of
Stooges
Mask.
video games.
Or Dumb and Dumber.
Dumber and
All
Dumber.
video.
I'll be
like
like
all
straight
of
to
them.
video.
Okay.
Pinball.
Jim
Three
Carrey
Stooges
sequels.
pinball.
Okay, there are Three Stooges video games. In 1984, Gottlieb released an arcade game featuring the Stooges trying to find three kidnapped brides.
Yeah, that seems to be like a common thing, is them trying to like
Find
save
women.
women. Not even find, but like save women from weird predicaments.
Hoping that they'll bang.
I don't
Probably.
think so. It's
I mean,
just a
if there's
gentlemanly-
three women and three dudes, what do you think
Perfect.
they're expecting to happen, Troy?
Yeah, definitely some like wife swap swinger shit for sure.
I want to see that spinoff. Later in 1987, game developers Cinemaware released a successful Three Stooges computer game available for Apple IIgs, Amiga, Commodore 64, MS-DOS, and the NES. Based on the Stooges earning money by doing odd jobs to prevent the foreclosure of an orphanage. It incorporated audio from the original films and was popular enough to be reissued for a Game Boy Advance in 2002. Oh, for the Game Boy Advance in 2002, as well as PlayStation in 2004.
I never thought video games at all would ever be associated with the Three Stooges. That's pretty surprising.
I mean, I could definitely picture what it looks like in my head pretty perfectly.
It's pretty.
There's
It's just
one
like
What's
Tetris.
let's go with
Yeah.
Let's go with like
And I'm not thinking visually. I'm just thinking that doesn't look good.
Oy, boy. Ooh. And then you just say like I don't know. I'm wondering what's your guys' what video game that
Movie
you remember
based off
like
a movie.
that kind of but like what video game do you remember seeing where you're just like how are they making this a game out of like a show or a movie? Is there anything that comes to mind?
The Mummy.
The Mummy video game? I don't remember
That
there being
makes,
a
I mean, that makes sense.
that kind of makes sense, yeah.
Makes no sense. Why would they ever make a game?
Doesn't make no sense.
Brendan Fraser
I
in
could
a
name
video
some,
game?
I could name some good video games that were based off movies.
Yeah.
Any of the Harry Potter games,
I did
the
like
Chamber
Harry-
of Secrets
I
ones,
did like
all
Harry
those, I
Potter.
loved the shit out of those. And then there was also, I'm drawing a blank.
Toy Story games are good.
Yeah. Lion King game was pretty insanely hard.
Man, oh yeah, that game was
You
impossible.
couldn't get past the
I got
swinging
one.
tails.
Yeah, it's like known to be one of the
Hercules.
hardest games.
Hercules?
Was there a game?
Yeah.
Why is it so hard to?
This is a game.
Just beating
I
up
mean, just
people.
about every
I don't know.
Disney movie
None of this makes any
has a
sense.
video game.
None of this is making sense. He's
Why
not a
would you
gamer.
I don't think anyone would ever make a video game ever.
There was a
True.
Home
Good point.
Improvement game on.
This is
Oh,
what I'm
there
talking
is.
about.
There you
Like
go.
that. Like
There you go.
what? What is that game? You just
Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Elise from
coming
the
from the
peanut
living room.
gallery over
From
there.
the living room.
Right at 1 p.m.
From the
Central
parking
Standard
lot.
Time.
Elise
Elise
Sordani from the press pool.
Yeah,
Dude, did we get the church bell on the mics? Hopefully we recorded some church bell.
yeah. It is one.
We'll add
Clock,
some more in
apparently.
post.
It's one ring.
Dude, there's
It's
one
2.
bell. Only one bell.
There's 2
ring.
bells. I missed one of them.
And if it's 3, then just go to your basement. 'Cause the world is ending.
Oh no! 3. You know what? When the church
Tornado siren.
the church bells ring thrice, you
They
must
just
hide like
murder.
mice, as they say.
Also, any Simpsons video games are good.
Well,
like
yeah. They are
Hit
pretty
and
good.
Run
Hit
and
and
Road
Run is
Rage.
good.
I did play Road Rage.
Simpsons skateboarding is terrible.
Okay, yeah, you got a point. Yeah.
Like you mean like Bart's pretty good at it.
Sure.
Yeah, all right, Trey.
All right.
A fun fact: I was watching a documentary and they were talking about Tony Hawk Pro Skater was originally a game.
From
Fuck.
Matt Hoffman, BMX.
Hell yeah, Dave Mira, DMX.
Dave Mira was,
What
Rest
happened to
in
the
peace.
Tony Hawk games?
I don't know.
There's
Skateboarding.
like 9.
How difficult
Tony
would it
Hawk
be to keep making those?
Underground. Oh, you mean why have
They
they?
can
Not?
literally just keep releasing.
What,
like, this-
Tony Hawk?
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
different-
like remaster it?
Well, the
different
skate.
maps.
They can
Skate.
literally
well,
just keep
once
releasing the
Skate
same
got
game with
popular-
different, like,
Yeah,
maps and
no.
people buy it.
So the problem going on right now is they made Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 on the Xbox One a few years ago, like 2 years ago, and it was really, really fucking bad. Like
I mean, how do
Lil
you
Wayne
mess
was
that
a
up?
playable character in it.
Why would you mess
And
with?
the rumors are right now is that Tony Hawk's pissed off at
Activision.
I think
the
Activision
eyeball
released
with
it.
the needle coming through.
That's yeah, I don't know, but anyway, he's pissed off at them because of how bad it is,
Hmm.
and so he doesn't want them to make another game. Rumor is that he is in talks with EA, who made Skate,
Mm.
and they're gonna make Tony Hawk Skate.
That'd be cool.
That's
There
like
you
that's
go.
a rumor because that game was fucking
Yeah,
great.
people loved Skate.
Wouldn't you rather play like the arcade style
I would.
Tony
but,
Hawk game?
Yeah, some people want that
Yeah,
realism.
I know I would, but
Or I guess if you could have like both options in the new game.
Yeah, if they had a Tony Hawk
Oh, yeah.
it was like a Tony Hawk Classic and like a new Tony Hawk Skate kind of deal, that'd be cool. That's a lot of I don't know. That's a lot of
It's like
work.
2 games in one.
It's like 2 games in one.
all right, are we done here?
Yeah, I don't
You
know.
got anything
I
else?
guess there's one other thing. So Larry Fine of the Three Stooges was an MC, which I found out meant Master of Ceremonies, and I just thought that was a badass title.
What does that even mean? Though?
Like when you're like, oh, an MC, like it's like the host, like a
That's what
when
that
someone
stands for?
MCs Master of Ceremonies. Yeah,
So
they're like
what
lead.
about like MCA, like from Beastie Boys?
I don't know about him, but I always wonder about MC Hammer, like because MC. That's like the person like when they're hosting like a
they
comedy
call him
show.
MC.
Yeah, like they'll be like, and here's our MC for the night, and it's like someone that works for the club that like does
Yeah.
like bits in between different stand-ups. I just like never knew that stood for Master of Ceremonies. I just thought that was a really badass title, and it was like
Which ceremonies are they better at though? Because there's all
funerals. They're best at funerals. Nothing like a good stand-up comedian at a
kinds. A good old goat sacrifice ceremony.
goat sacrifices. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Bris. They're good at a bris. I believe that's the circumcision. I
Bat
believe that's when
mitzvah?
people get half their foreskin cut off. All their
What?
foreskin
What?
cut off. A
What
bris.
the
What does it have to do with MCs?
Yeah.
There, it's like the moil has the MC. There's like the moil and the MC.
Okay.
I have no idea what is
This has
going
been
on.
an episode.
Yeah, this has been episode 26 of Almost Random.
See you next.
You can
moil.
tweet
The
at us
moil
at
and the
Almost
master of
Random
ceremonies.
with 2 M's on Twitter. Email us at thearpodcast@gmail.com. Email us some topics. Because obviously Troy's reaching far down into his memory bank to talk about circumcisions.
Yeah, I remember mine. You guys don't remember yours?
No.
Troy's was just 2 years ago.
It was like right after my 21st
We were all
birthday.
there.
But, yeah, you
Yeah,
guys
we
were
were
all
all
there. Yeah, Dan was MC. Kurt was the moil.
Oh, that's what was going on that day?
Yeah, you don't remember? That's how
That
drunk
was
were
just
you?
A filled blow.
He was very drunk off of Tito's vodka. Just add Tito's.
That's how we disinfected my cock too. So.
All right, that's Troy Messy Messamaker. You can find him. Troy, where can we find you on Twitter or Instagram?
You can find me at 335. No, I'm sure. 335-868.
What's your Twitter?
I don't know. I don't.
What's
use
your
Twitter.
Instagram?
Do not get on my
Don't
Twitter.
contact.
All right, I'll
Don't-
put it.
yeah, just don't contact
I'll put
me.
it
How about
below. You can find me on
I was
Twitter at
all- I was-
Campo63.
Gung ho about being my social medias on here anymore. I don't know. Not ready for that hate mail. All those Stooges, all those
You've
Stooge
already opened the
haters.
can.
This is Dan Maslucci. You can
put
find
my
him.
Twitter handle right here.
You can find him on the internet somewhere.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, don't go looking for me. You're gonna find me.
and
I'm not
Kurt
there.
Pockets Agner.
Yeah, if you guys have
Um,
anything you want me to pocket next week, send it in.
What's in your pocket right now?
Send it
Yeah,
in my P.O. box.
let's go through pocket. What's in your
We got
pocket?
What's in your
wallet.
pocket?
Pocket contents of the week.
We got wallet. Same. Funky's wallet.
Pull them out.
All day.
All right, Kurt. Every time you're on the podcast from now on, you just have to have something weird in your pocket. You're like,
Surprise
and
pocket.
in the pocket of the week is
Pocket of
This
the week.
topic.
Oh, hey, Casel's phone. Hey.
is
Ooh,
these
Interesting.
finger cuffs.
Caseless phone. So,
Chinese
This is something else I've wondered. So, the phone case industry, like
really going downhill these
And
days.
stay tuned next week for the phone case industry
phone
topic.
case industry. It'll be next week.
Later.
It's the